Hello again, welcome back to Job Travels. It's Evan and Megan. Here we are in, what's the name of this place?
Waiua.
Waiua, good job.
Why you looking at me like that? We have spent less than 24 hours in El Salvador and I already love it here. It's gorgeous.
Why, you might ask, is El Salvador so cool? From a motorcycle perspective, the roads are fantastic and it's beautiful to ride through. It's absolutely gorgeous. The people?
They're so, fantastic.
Yeah. That's been the case for most of Latin America.
Yeah, most of Latin America. El Salvador, even though El Salvador and Guatemala look and have very similar vibes, it feels different.
Totally.
It just does. The people feel different, the area, the landscape, all that stuff. So it does feel different than Guatemala. We really enjoyed Guatemala, but we really enjoyed El Salvador so far.
Yeah, and this town that we're in is really neat. It is right along the route of flowers, and it's not super touristy, but it's right in the middle of this kind of really, I guess you would call it a touristy area, but there's not a lot of tourists. The other cool thing about this place is there is mountains around. Those are all, there's different coffee fields around, and they use all that coffee and they take it and they keep it local and they brew all their own coffee here, and they don't really export it anywhere. So
our Airbnb host gave us a rundown of all the good places to eat, and he said you can get a cup of coffee ranging from 25 cents to $10 a cup, and it's obviously the quality difference, but he said the best price and quality equilibrium is about $1 for a cup of coffee, and it's so good, and you can literally see where it's being ground. So we crossed the border yesterday.
Hola, ¿para dónde van?
¿Qué?
¿Ustedes para dónde van?
We are from, ¿de dónde es? Los Estados Unidos.
¿Para allá van ya?
Sí.
¿Y en qué se van?
Viajamos a Argentina.
¿Hasta Argentina?
Sí.
¿Algún jugador de Argentina que conoce?
¿Qué, amigos? Adiós.
Adiós.
I feel bad, but he was talking fast and I couldn't understand
I know. It's hard to hear with the helmets on.
Yeah, the helmet on and he's talking kind of fast and a little quiet.
It's that quiet fast combo that's really the killer. Wow, what a beautiful morning.
Seriously.
I chose the border crossing based on iOverlander and just kind of our route where we were gonna end up in El Salvador. And so we drive an hour to the border crossing that we intended on crossing in, except we didn't cross there.
What? This is confusing. Hola. ¿Dónde es la frontera? ¿Frontera?
Es paso no habilitado, no es fronterizo, que no tiene aduana.
Okay.
Donde ustedes pueden registrarse es en San Cristóbal, la aduana de allá.
San Cristóbal.
Acá lo dejan pasar solo caminando en vehículos, ¿no?
Ah, claro, so only on foot.
No hay servicio de migración.
I see, okay.
Claro.
Tienen que regresar, tienen que volver y tomar la carretera hacia allá. Está la frontera de San Cristóbal. Ahí pueden chequear inmigración y ya pasan.
San Cristobal is about another hour away.
So as you saw in that video right there, it was blocked off, and then there's a little dirt area, and then more rocks, and that was kind of the border crossing, and on the other side, I guess, was immigration offices for El Salvador, but that was strictly for if you're walking only. So people who walk back and forth from El Salvador to Guatemala. Yeah, so we talked to the locals and they told us that about an hour north was San Cristobal, which is where we could go to do the border crossing. So we turned around and we went up. We got there.
Claro. Okay, gracias, señor. Oh, claro. Okay,
Oh, she's
gracias.
good.
Gracias, señor.
Gracias. And this kind guy said he'll take us there.
Okay, yeah, this guy in the tuk-tuk's gonna take us right up to the frontera.
Will he also do the whole border crossing for us?
Yeah, right. Wow, this is chaotic looking.
Yeah.
Hola, El Salvador? Claro, gracias.
All right, so we are at the border crossing for El Salvador and Guatemala. We're on the Guatemala side. So first things first that you have to do is you have to get through all of these trucks that you'll see. You can just drive past them. And then from here, you'll go to this building behind me that says migration. From there, they just stamp out your passport. That's pretty simple. And then you go across the street over there. There's a building that says SAT, and that is where you go to cancel your temporary import permit. Here, they asked if we got a form from entering the country during migration, but we didn't get anything. He let us through still, so maybe something to hang on to. We didn't even know we needed it. And then at this place, we needed our temporary import paperwork that we got from entering Guatemala. We also needed our title, registration, Evan's passport, and Evan's driver's license. And from there, it was pretty quick. We were in there for like probably 10 minutes, 20 minutes maybe, and they just kind of did the thing. They came out, checked the bike to make sure the VIN matched, and then we were good to go. So now, Evan just exchanged some money, and we are heading onto the El Salvador side to do that whole shebang.
Hope for the best.
Yep.
They laughed at me. I threw my arms up.
This is the tightest fit.
I don't know. I don't know if you'll fit, man.
I don't know either.
He said yeah. Go that way.
Chaos.
Don't worry about me, I'm coming too.
Buenos días.
Va a esperar porque ahorita el funcionario anda almorzando. Si gusta, la parqueamos allá
Okay.
y esperan que él venga de comer.
Okay.
Después gusta, síganme.
Okay. Over there.
So that guy eventually brought us over to where we were supposed to go and parked, and then led me into the building, told me all the documents that I needed, super friendly, incredibly nice, led me into the building, sat me down at a desk. Him and another kid, Nestor, like walked me through this piece of paper, everything that I needed to like do. They spent like 15 minutes with me, just like making sure I filled everything out just right. And then, yeah, they pretty much were just like, all right, you're good to go. I mean, after a while, it took
a little bit longer than any other border crossing we've done. All right, so we are now on the El Salvador side. Evan is inside importing the vehicle, but we just had a guy come up to me and he said, this is the best country you're ever gonna visit. And then he said that he was from Oregon, he's from Medford. And we're like, no way, us too, we're from Salem. So shout out to you Oregonians, no matter where you are. And we're super stoked to be in El Salvador very soon, if we can get this border situation figured out. Still waiting. Evan's in there. Now they filled out all the paperwork, and now we're just waiting for him to process it. This is one of those moments where I'm out here standing with the motorcycle, and I hope everyone just thinks this is just a girl and her bike, you know? You can see over here, the migration office a little bit. People coming, that's where we have to go to get stamped into El Salvador. So it looks like there's a bit of a line, and hopefully it doesn't take very long, so we have to go there next, and then we should be good to go. So we've been here for like an hour and 20 minutes or so. Not too bad, but would like it to be over soon. This really is kind of a clusterfuck. So we came in from Guatemala, back there, and the road had us like keep going straight, but then they made us cross over here. And so now you can see like the semi trucks in front of us here, but then people entering El Salvador come through on this side on these pillars here. And so there's like this weird cross traffic that happens, and there's a toll booth up there that we will be crossing, but all of the trucks are like held up there. So I don't really understand what's happening. Also, while we're waiting here, a little history hour with Miss Fields. Yes, I am a history teacher. My new friend Oswaldo from Medford, he was briefly telling me about some of the history of El Salvador, and from what I read on the internet as well, El Salvador is a country that has had a long history of violence and gang and corrupt politics. I think for 1 year it was murder capital of the world. So a lot of these countries do have a streak of violence and things. It doesn't make them bad countries at all. It's just kind of a shitty hand for them. They got a new president, and that president really turned things around for El Salvador. So as Waldo was telling me that now this country is thriving. People are much happier. It's safe. The police are very like militant and keeping the bad guys out and such. So he was saying that El Salvador is the best country in the world, and that there's so much to see, and it's very, very safe and secure. So that's cool to hear, and awesome to hear the country turned around. I'm sure the citizens are very happy about that as well.
All right.
Success?
Success. How long were you waiting there with that?
I've been watching the door. Every time it opens, I like jump. I'm like, is it Evan?
Yeah, we're good. We have all of our papers for migration. Yeah, that was a really, besides taking a little while, that was a really easy process.
That's
super
good.
simple. So that's
I was
great.
out here a little stressed, being like, why is it taking so long?
Yeah.
What's going on?
It takes a while. you know?
Yeah.
So now we're gonna head down to migration and we'll be good.
Great. And with that, we got our passport stamped, and we are officially free to go to El Salvador.
We got them signed.
We got them signed. They didn't give us a new stamp. They simply signed our Guatemala one and wrote a 90 on it, stating that we have 90 days to be in El Salvador. From what we read online, if you overstay your visa, they could charge you $1,000 a day. So we're definitely not going to stay 90 days in El Salvador. No matter how beautiful it is, we will leave. So now, bienvenidos a El Salvador. But everything was pretty smooth.
It was super
smooth.
smooth.
It just took a while. Like the whole process probably took us 2 hours.
Yep, 2 hours, but it didn't cost anything.
Yeah.
And there was no like, there was nothing that caused any sort of problems on the El Salvador side. So it was, all in all, I mean, just like walk in, walk out kind of a situation.
Yeah.
And even if we didn't know what we were doing going into it, we would have probably figured it out okay, because
Yeah, they were very patient, and they told us every single time, like, you need your title, your import form, you need this, this, and this. So
yeah.
they were super helpful with that. By the way, I will link a blog post in the comments that has a written out list of resources that you'll need if you are doing this border crossing as well.
And then after that, we entered El Salvador. Had a beautiful, beautiful ride. And then we made it here. So
Yeah, we're gonna spend the next couple days exploring the area.
But that was pretty much it.
Yeah, pretty easy one this time.
Well, thanks for tuning in for this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like, leave a comment below. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel.
Smash that subscribe button.
Indeed. We look forward to seeing you in the next video, everyone. Much love. Peace.